This is a high-octane action video of top action scenes from Peter Jackson's epic high fantasy adventure film The Hobbit, An Unexpected Journey, released in 2012. It is based on J.R.R. Tolkien's 1937 book The Hobbit. Please drop a like and leave a comment on the action scenes you like, and please share the video with your pals, and don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification. Let's continue. Parts of the movie are taken from Tolkien's The Return of the King appendices, and the plot takes place in Middle-earth 60 years before the major events of The Lord of the Rings. In the movie An Unexpected Journey, Martin Freeman plays Bilbo Baggins, who is persuaded to travel with 13 dwarves under the leadership of Richard Armitage's Thorin Oakenshield, Ian McKellen, in order to recover the Lonely Mountain from the dragon Smaug. Here is our list of action scenes, and only action scenes not ranked in any specific order. 1. Lay down your arms scene. The trolls fight scene. As they continue, 3 trolls catch up with the group. Following a brawl, the trolls seize them and want to feast on them. The trolls are about to devour them, but Bilbo stops them until daylight, when Gandalf exposes them to sunlight, turning them into stone. When they examine the trolls' cave, they discover elven weapons and wealth. Both Gandalf and Thorin grab an elven-made blade, Glamdring for him, and Orcrist for Thorin, while the latter finds a small elven sword for Bilbo. 2. Bilbo saves Thorin. Bilbo first refuses to accept, but when they go without him, he changes his mind. While traveling, Balin informs Bilbo that Thror attempted to retake the dwarf city of Moria after Smaug destroys Erebor, but a legion of orcs had already seized control of it. The most evil of all the orc leaders was Azog the Defiler, Manu Bennett. Dwarves swore eternally to oppose orcs, as Azog killed Thror and had promised to slay Thorin. In the same fight, Thorin amputates Azog's arm and inspires his army to a historic triumph against the orcs. Azog and his hunting team ambush the group, forcing them to seek cover in the forest. After charging Azog, Thorin is thrown to the ground. Eagles fly the group to the safety of the Carrick, and just in time, Bilbo saves Thorin from the orcs. The group spots the Lonely Mountain in the distance, where a thrush's pounding wakes the dozing Smaug.
You nearly got yourself killed.
3. Thorin amputates Azog's arm. Thorin and his army versus the orcs. Bilbo first refuses to accept, but when they go without him, he changes his mind. While traveling, Balin informs Bilbo that Thror attempted to retake the dwarf city of Moria after Smaug destroys Erebor, but a legion of orcs had already seized control of it. The most evil of all the orc leaders was Azog the Defiler, Manu Bennett. Dwarves swore eternally to oppose orcs, as Azog killed Thror and had promised to slay Thorin. In the same fight, Thorin amputates Azog's arm and inspires his army to a historic triumph against the orcs.
Learned that day. That night. We feel. There is one. There is one.
4. The Underworld. When the group meets Radagast the Brown, Sylvester McCoy, one of the 5 wizards in Middle-earth under Saruman the White, he informs them of his experience at Dol Guldur with a necromancer who has been using black magic to corrupt Greenwood. A malevolent spirit having the ability to communicate with the afterlife is called a necromancer. At Dol Guldur, the necromancer had assaulted Radagast, but Radagast had managed to get away. He takes a weird sword from Dol Guldur on his way out, one that is not from this world. 5. The orcs on Warg versus elves. Orcs on wargs then start chasing the group. Radagast recounts the group's escape while Gandalf guides them to Rivendell via a stone tunnel. Elves arrive to save the group and drive the orcs away. Despite Thorin's adamant resistance, Gandalf manages to persuade him to contact the elves for assistance. There, on the company's map of the Lonely Mountain, Elf Lord Elrond, Hugo Weaving reveals a concealed hint of a secret door that will only be visible on Durin's Day, which is rapidly approaching. Six. Bilbo versus Gollum. After splitting off from the dwarves, Bilbo finds himself in a cave where he meets Andy Serkis's Gollum, who unintentionally kills a stray goblin for food and loses a golden ring. As Bilbo pockets the ring, Gollum approaches him. They gamble that if Bilbo wins the riddle game, Gollum will devour him, and if he loses, he will be given the way out. In the end, Bilbo prevails by asking Gollum what he is holding in his pocket. Gollum notices that his ring is missing and attacks the hobbit, believing that Bilbo is in possession of it. After learning that the ring makes him invisible, Bilbo manages to get away from a vengeful Gollum. When Bilbo ventures forth into the daylight, Gollum is unable to pursue him. Gollum swears to despise all Baggins for eternity and curses Baggins. 7. Thunder Battle. When the Orc pack leader heads back to his stronghold, it becomes clear that Azog is still alive and awaiting Thorin's vengeance. The group travels into the Misty Mountains without Gandalf, where they encounter a massive stone giant fight that is reportedly referred to as Thunder Battle. They hide in a cave where they are grabbed by goblins and taken to the Great Goblin, Barry Humphries, who is their commander. 8. Gandalf versus Great Goblin versus Thorin. Azog, an orc warchief who murdered Thror and lost his forearm to Thorin in combat outside the dwarven kingdom of Moria, has put a reward on Thorin's head. The Great Goblin informs the dwarfs. When Gandalf shows up, he kills the Great Goblin and helps the dwarves escape. After avoiding Gollum's pursuit, Bilbo leaves the mountain and reunites with his companions, concealing his recently acquired ring. Later, as an indication that the necromancer is connected to Sauron's impending return, Gandalf addresses the White Council, which is made up of Elrond, Galadriel, and Saruman the White. He displays a Morgul sword, a weapon of the Witch King of Angmar that Radagast took from Dol Guldur. While Saruman demands that Gandalf put a halt to the dwarves' quest, which is of more immediate consequence, Gandalf surreptitiously tells Galadriel that he had foreseen this and had the dwarves go without him. To sum up, the books The Lord of the Rings contain references to Galadriel, Saruman, and Frodo Baggins, among other characters, and The Hobbit does not. However, both books feature Gandalf, Gollum, Bilbo Baggins, Elrond, and the Necromancer, albeit Bilbo's portrayal in the two sets of films is different due to the character's greater impact from age. In the movie's prologue, Ian Holmes' Bilbo's elder character also makes an appearance. One noteworthy observation is that The Hobbit, An Unexpected Journey was the first feature picture with a wide distribution to employ a frame rate of 48 frames per second for both filming and projection. The Hobbit, An Unexpected Journey became the 15th movie in history to make $1 billion with a global total of $1.017 billion, including $303 million in the US and Canada and $718.1 million abroad. The Warner Bros. Pictures production is the fourth highest earning movie of 2012. The film scooped at least 3 Academy Award nominations for Best Visual Effects, Best Production Design, and Best Makeup and Hairstyling.